Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to cover my entire deck collection. Now, these are decks that I've collected over 4 years, so that means ever since I started Magic and cardistry. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so starting off, I'm going to show you guys this first brick right here. And all of my decks are in a Happy Socks box, and except for that stash over there. You can kind of see it. It doesn't have one because I didn't have another one, sadly. I'll just start with this brick here. They basically just consist of regular bicycle decks. This one's a Stargazer deck, a Borderless deck. This one's a Cyclist deck. I didn't usually use that one because the handling isn't that good. This one is the Holiday back, and this one's printed in Cincinnati, Ohio, USPCC's older printing factory. Pretty cool design. Then we got a classic Diamondback B deck. Then we got a Criss Angel deck, which I turned into trainers. These were my first trainers that I've ever created because I couldn't afford getting real trainers, but eventually I got some, which I'll show later in the video. And next we have the blue Memento Mori. This is my third deck I ever gotten, and this one's the Fathom deck, which this is the second deck. I don't have the original Rainbow Memento Mori because I like this one better. It's just a blue back and the faces are all blue. And this one's the Fathom deck, like I said, by Illusionist, second deck I ever got. This deck looks pretty cool, but the only thing I don't really like is just the borders. There's no direct line to clearly make it a border. I'm not a huge fan of that one. But then I thought it was cool. So next, I'm gonna go over this brick, which is my Magic deck, or half of them consist of Magic decks. Over here we have the Monarchs. We got the blue, red, and green version. And we have the Union deck with Area 11. And this deck is a very cool looking deck. This is the B Binions, I think. But these feel so good. I really like them a lot. These are printed in the old printing factory. Let's see, USPCC, so Cincinnati, Ohio. They feel really good. Next, we have the White Artisan deck. Really cool deck with gold metallic ink on this one. And next we have the Tessellatus deck. I'll show you a little bit later because I have another one of these. This one's a really crappy deck. The other one has my face on it. This was, I guess, a kind of like a little prank thing. I thought that was just really funny. It's just me with a Red Monarchs deck springing the cards. I thought that was just hilarious. Next we have the Hoyle plastic waterproof deck. Now here we have the Saturn Space Jam or Hyperspace deck. This deck looks pretty cool. That was a terrible fan. It's like a half borderless deck, which looks pretty cool. The faces are pretty much standard. The Jokers look cool. This is one of the Jokers. There's the other one. It comes with a blank card. If I can find the Ace of Spades. Yeah, there it is. I really like that Ace of Spades. Looks really good. And over here we have a Hanami deck, which again I'll show you a little bit later. I have another one of these. This one is really crappy as well. And this one's an unopened Malibu V2 by Gemini. So yeah. So that takes care of this brick. And now, let's see, let's go with this brick here. So this brick is some old cardistry decks I don't often use. And a couple of them, I'm just not a huge fan of the design anymore. But here is the Hanami deck. This deck I really like a lot. I love the pink color right here. I love the gradient pattern here. I think it looks pretty good. Now the faces. Oh yes. Oh yes. The faces look so good. The other deck, the other Hanami deck I showed you just a minute earlier, they still handle pretty well, but the fans didn't look that great, so I decided to open up this deck right here, which looks totally better. And next we have the Malibu V2, like I showed you, the unopened one. This is the back design, really cool deck. And this one is the Series B V1. Really cool deck. Really cool design. And this one is the Tessellatus deck, which I showed you before. This is the second deck that I opened. The other deck was, again, kind of a crappy deck. It wasn't fanning that well. This one I've had for quite a while. I mean, it still fans pretty good. The colors are absolutely love. They look beautiful. Also custom faces. There we go. And next we have the Cardistry Touch Origin deck. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know what this deck looks like. This is the Carrot Fontaine deck. I'm sure a lot of you know what that deck looks like. And the Virtuoso FW17 is what they look like. I've used this deck quite a bit. I mean, you can see that the box is damaged quite a bit. Also, I've used the Cardistry Touch deck quite a bit as well, that like they don't fan that well anymore. And they just don't look that good. That's a pretty good poop deck. I wish I had another one of these, but they're really expensive now. This one is an Aviator Blue Edition. I didn't get a red edition because I like the blue version better. This deck has a very interesting feel to them. They don't have the normal pores like you would see like on classic USPCC decks. They have a different feel for them. They actually feel pretty good, to be honest. You should try one out for yourself if you're interested. And next one, this is the Pearl Sunrise deck. I haven't used this deck in a while, to be honest. A pretty cool design, watercolor thing, I think. The only thing I don't really like about it is that it's super stiff, but I really like how the edges feel. They're super smooth. Really cool deck. Next we have a blue circleback Tally-Ho. And next we have a Bacopo Moai deck. This one actually looks pretty cool. But the only thing I don't really like is the black borders. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I don't really like the black backs and the white faces, but the fans I really like on the Moai deck. This one looks so good. Looks really good. And here is the Rockets deck, which looks something like this. A pretty classy deck, to be honest. So that takes care of that brick. And over here, this is the one that does not have a Happy Socks box thing. Sorry, this is out of order, but whatever. So right here we have the Juggler Marble Edition, which this deck looks really good, and it feels so good as well. I really like the color on this one. And next, this is just a Walt Disney deck. Yeah, that's basically the back design. Looks pretty cool, I guess, but they don't feel that well. They don't fan that well. And next, this is the deck that I designed. I call them Arrow playing cards, and I use make playing cards to print them. The design looks pretty good, to be honest. It looks okay, but I like the colors that I chose. The pastel colors, I really like them. And the fanny looks pretty good as well. And also, I created my own slogan on this card, and it says "Which direction?" because of the arrows. And let's see if I can find the Ace of Spades and or the Jokers. So here's the Ace of Spades. It looks pretty cool. Here's the first Joker, and here's the second Joker. That's what they look like. Feeling on this, you feel pretty good. And I have my custom art on there with using a Sharpie, but it rubbed off after using them quite a bit. And this is an unopened deck. I think NPC sent me another one because of the COVID situation. They sent me another one because there was a delay. I think that's why. I'm not entirely sure. They didn't say anything about it. And next we have the Superfly Spitfire deck. This is what the deck looks like. This is a pretty cool deck. And this deck is pretty thin, almost as thin as the FW17 Virtuoso deck. They look really good. Yeah. And next we have Frostbite deck. This deck I absolutely love. I use this deck all the time. Looks so good. And you can see that I've wore out this deck. But it still fan pretty well. Also, it has a pretty cool box too with a UV spotting on it. So cool. Next we have the Orbits V5 deck. I'm sure you know what that looks like. And next we have a red circle back tally ho. And over here I have the Boreal, Aether, and Nova Odyssey playing cards. This one is purple, this one's red, and this one's, well, I'll show you the back designs. This looks pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of the Nova edition because they redesigned their faces, and I really like how the faces look like on both the Aether and the Boreal edition. But yeah, the Boreal is my favorite out of all of them. And next we have the Violet Lunamoon playing cards by Bacopo. I've done a review on this deck. Pretty cool deck. If you want to take a look at it, I'll put the link in the description down below for a review that I did a while ago. And next we have the Edge Cardistry trainers. Now these are some trainers that I did get, and they feel pretty good. They look really cool too. The thing I like about them the most is that they don't have the same design on both sides, so I know that which packets face up and which packets aren't face down, if you know what I mean. So that's what it looks like. And over here is the Cube Line deck. Now this is the first Cartamundi deck that I've ever felt, well, specifically the True Linen B9 finish. I mean, I've had the Cardistry Touch before I've had this deck, and this deck is pretty thick. This is what the back design looks like. Pretty cool deck. And here's my final brick that I use pretty much every day. So right here we have the 5-2 Mount Edition deck. This is what it looks like. I really like this metallic ink on this one. Next we have the Jaspis deck, Cardistry Con Edition, the silver foil on this one. The handling on that deck feels really good. And here's the Ventus deck. Really cool fans. And they feel really good too. And next we have the Carrots V2. And we have the School of Cardistry V5 deck. And if you want to see a review on this deck, again, links in the description down below. And this deck is the Cardistry Touch Pulse edition. This is the second deck by Cardistry Touch. Again, using that swivel box. I didn't mention that earlier with the Origin deck. This is the yellow checkerboard deck. And this is the the collage deck by Missing New York. Again, if you want to see a review, links in the description down below. This is what the design looks like. Looks so cool. One of my favorite Cardistry decks. This is the Echo deck. Something like that. And this deck, at first I wasn't a huge fan of. This is the Stencil deck by Donnybrook Playing Cards. That's just what the back design looks like. It's basically just the Donnybrook logo on the backs. And the faces have been customized just a little bit. Looks pretty cool. And this one is the Derived Playing Cards by Cardistry Touch. The third installment from Cardistry Touch again. I absolutely love this deck. I love the hypnotizing back and the vibrant blue faces on the front. Looks so good when you fan them. So satisfying. And last but not least, we have the Orbit V7 Parallel Edition. I didn't get the regular 7th edition, the pink and purple one, but I'm glad at least I got this deck. This one is really, really cool. I really like the design on them a lot. And that pretty much covers my entire deck collection. So thank you guys for watching this video, and if you've already made it to the end of the video, congratulations. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you do like this video, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel if you already haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya.